Hello everyone, my name is Vishal Bas and I am a Management Information Systems and Computer Science student here at the University of Arizona. I work at the iSpace, which is located in the Science and Engineering Library, and I highly recommend you come check it out. We provide a lot of students with the resources and technologies to kind of accommodate dynamic projects. Today I'll be showing you how we accommodate some of these dynamic projects. I'll begin by going over how we use the VR suite. So welcome, this is our VR room. It's on the first floor, or the ground floor I should say, of the Science and Engineering Library. And one of the coolest things about the VR room is that you can come here and you can check it out, and you can actually try to use the VR environments to design three-dimensional and virtual reality models, as well as for gaming purposes. I'll be going ahead and showing you how we use some of these technologies. The first game I'll be showing you is called The Lab. Now, the way it works is there are a bunch of virtual mini games, and you teleport around a room to basically enter these little worlds. So I'll go ahead and show you after I put my goggles on. Alright, so you'll see me right now on the TV. You can see exactly what I see, and you'll be seeing how I interact with the world. So you'll see on the TV there's a little platform here. So what I'm going to do is I can actually go up to it and then interact with it. So what I did was I walked up to it and I pressed the button right here, and it opened up the game. So one of the cool things about VR and actually being in here, if you've never tried it before, is just experiencing it, because it's wild. So there's a little button here. It's going to let me teleport to the other side of the room. I'll go ahead and teleport towards this game. And this is one of the better games. It's an archery game. So I'll lift it up and I'll drop it over my head. So this game is called Longbow. It's a little mini game within the lab, and you teleport towards the board, click on this little guy, and now I'm working in this VR space where I have a bow and arrow. The goal is to defend the castle over here. So now I'm done playing that one. I'll come back out here and I'll come check it out. So I can actually design cool stuff in here as well. I'll actually try the Google Tilt brush now, so you can kind of get an idea of what goes on with this. The idea with Google Tilt brush is your hands are kind of like the palette and the paintbrush, and you can physically walk around and design stuff in a three-dimensional environment. It's pretty nuts. So I don't know if you can see this, but it says point to interact. So the idea here is I have two controllers, and what I do is I point one controller at the menu that's hoisted on the other one. So I'll click New Sketch. Now I can go actually and check out some of these cool things. So there's different kinds of brush strokes that they'll have, so you can actually see it. So like, let's try Tune, for example, and let's select like this teal. And so what I'll do now is I'll just just by waving around my hands in like cool ways in this 3D environment, I was able to create this. I'm not that artistic with visual stuff, with visual art, but if you have that in you, we have a lot of resources here to help. The next virtual reality suite I'll show you about is the Oculus Rift. We have two of these Oculus Rift headsets, and I'll go ahead and put it on, and we'll go ahead and show you what I see. For VR stuff at least. The movement stuff isn't necessarily walking around with this one. So the biggest difference between the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive is that the Rift is more of like a sit in one area, kind of like swivel on the spinny chair kind of a deal, whereas with the Vive it's more of like a walk around and interact with the environment. So that's like one of the biggest deal. That's one of the biggest differences. So this is called Robo Recall, and it's honestly one of my favorite games. So I'm interacting with the menu by just pointing at it in my virtual space, and you can see this little laser cursor So I'll go ahead and continue my save file. So the way that the game works, you teleport up by using like this little the little joystick. So you shoot it out, and then it shoots out like this little beam that tells you where you're going to be. And then you can roll the stick to show where you want to face. So there's a little arrow there that's kind of turning in a circle. So I'm moving that myself, so I want to face this way when I teleport. So now I'm facing that way. You can see to the left of me, that's where the elevator is. So now I'll come back here, and then I'll go to the hollow station, that's what they call it in the game. And this is sort of like the main hub. So in this game, it's a first-person shooter. The idea is that robots have taken over the world, and your goal is to recall them. By recall, they mean like just destroy them. So it's pretty fun if you're into that kind of stuff. And I'll give you like a quick demo on how to play it. So there's little guns in my holster. I'm going to pick them up, and now I have them in my hand. And the places that I aim are actually where it shows up. One of the other cool facilities that we have here at the iSpace is our laser cutter. We use the laser cutter to cut and engrave different kinds of materials, including plywood, cardboard, and acrylic boards. Some of the cool projects that we've created with that are actually located on this table right when you walk in. I'll go ahead and demonstrate and show you how we did one of the projects. One of them is a global map, but they're printed on these little triangles. So you'll see each of these triangles has a little hole in it on each of the corners. And the design is actually part of the map. So you'll see that looks like it's part of Asia, and that looks like maybe Indonesia. You can see maybe this one has like a little end of Russia and Alaska right there. So there's a couple of different prints on these maps. And what we do is we've actually 3D printed these hinges. So you'll see these right here. And the hinges, we attach triangles, the edges, right here on the edge, and we screw them in. And what it allows us to do is allows us to create a non-spherical model of the Earth. So this has a lot of different edges, a lot of different patterns on it, and you can see where the latitude and longitude lines are. Right there. These are called living hinges. Living hinges are when you take the wood and you score it or engrave it in such a way that allows hard plywood, which ordinarily would be unflexible, to be able to bend and move. So these are some of the different patterns that we can create for that. This is like the wave pattern. This is our cross pattern. And this should just give you some ideas of how we use this technology. One of the cool projects that you can make with these living hinges is actually a tote bag. One of our lead librarians made this, and the idea is we use like the living hinges right here for the handles and along the ridge in different places. And so what it allows us to do is it allows us to create a flexible wooden product. This is our 3D printer called the M200. We have various models of 3D printers that allow us to print different kinds of objects with different kinds of filaments. So based on what kinds of objects you want to print, we can go ahead and take a look at how that works. So this is called the build plate. That's where the print actually starts. And the print is created by using this filament here in the back. It's a plastic, and it runs through this little line over here, and it feeds in to this object, which then superheats a nozzle over here, and it 3D prints an object by laying down various layers on the build plate. So a final object, once completed, may look something like this. Some of the other objects that we have are located here. These are test prints. This is a really cool one. It's The Thinker by Rodin, but it almost has a Cubist, Picasso-style rendition, and it's really fascinating.